Okay, good afternoon, everybody. I want to quickly say a very big thank you to everybody that have actually reached out. I've been fine. I'm fine. I've just been very, very busy, attending to several other issues. Not these are just our normal obligations of what we do. So today we're going to be talking about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, and we're just going to be talking basically about the major issues that are presently happening in Lagos real estate. And these conversations like this are very important, and that is why I am going to be talking about this very quickly. So um, so I want to start by saying a very big thank you to everybody that have been joining us. Okay. So what I want to do right now is just to quickly just increase my audio. Okay, so let me know if you can hear me. All right. So there've been a lot of so what we'll be doing very quickly is to address a lot of concerns of what has been happening in the Lagos State real estate sector. So in case you are joining this live session for the first time, thank you very much. This is Property Matters live session where we discuss excuse me, when we discuss important real estate issues, more importantly, the ones that has to do with property investments. So I want to say a very big thank you to you. Now, one important thing I want us to talk about is the issue of the Lagos real estate. And I think I can recall vividly that I've had important conversations like this in time past. And I don't want to seem like we're having a repetitive episode or repetitive conversation. And that is why I have decided to come to give an update. What is happening basically is an update, although it is not new. For some of the people that have been following my YouTube channel, you would understand very well that I've been giving update on what is happening. And concerning the flooding situation, I also talk extensively on what could be the possible or the positive solutions, or what is why we're experiencing flood on a consistent matter. But on today's episode, we're going to be discussing what governments or what states and federal governments is proposing to do as far as property that are along the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road and the Lekki Epe Expressway. And the reason why this live session is very, very important basically is that I know we've had conversations that are very similar to this before. However, they've been an update that I cannot even wait for it to be tomorrow before I share it. And that is why I am going to be very, very explicit. I am not going to mince word. I'm going to say things the way they are, and hopefully I want to believe that you real estate investors will understand what is actually going on as far as the Lagos State real estate investment is concerned. It is not something that is worth celebrating. It is not something that it's a joyous thing. However, it's an important update and an important information that we just can't keep hold to ourselves. Okay, so very quickly, so what is that update, or what are those important things? I want to quickly apologize for that. So, what exactly is that thing that we are going to be talking about? Now, when they started the construction of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, I made some important notice, and I made several videos explaining to real estate investors of what is going on this axis. And in as much as fact that I have tried everything humanly possible to create this notice, I'm very, very happy to real estate investors who listened and yielded to some of the advices and the recommendations I gave. And when they also started the construction and the completion of the Lekki Expressway, We got first-hand information on the possibility that there might be demolitions both on the right and on the left hand side of the Lekki Epe Expressway. So what we did extensively was to embark on research. We started speaking with some government agencies, most people in the town planning of Lagos State Ministry of Lands, Housing Development, and we spoke extensively with some government officials. And the information we got basically was that the setback that is required for the construction of the blue line or the green line, yes, the green line train that will be coming all the way from Marina CMS down to Epe was, I think, as at that time, was around 10 to 15 meter setback. And we also found out basically that we have to the left, if you're driving all the way from Eleko, okay, to the left is where we have um, the the gas pipeline, and the required setback for the gas pipeline as at last year, the information we got last year was 15 meters from the newly constructed Lekki Epe Expressway. Then on the right, it was around 20 meters. Now, the updates that we have, or the important information we are sharing right now that we got basically is that there is going to be an extension of that setback. And this is one of the reasons why it is very, very important for us to have a practical knowledge of the Lagos master plan, or we have a town planning regulation um, um, information for that particular region. Now, actually, no one saw this coming because when the initial setback was announced, that was around last year, around December last year, people who were not affected by that particular setback decided to embark on their different constructions and some of the other things, only for an update information to be released few weeks ago that there is an extension of the setback from 15 meters to 30 meters. And when this setback thing started, I made a short video where I was explaining basically how the major markets along the ibeju-lekki corridor have been affected. And I also went further to and um, explain to real estate investors on the need to do a thorough due diligence whenever they are buying properties, more importantly on this axis where we have this major project. And a lot of people responded to it. A lot of people understood what I said. Meanwhile, and a lot of people actually said they did not have, information to some of these things, and it is quite sad. But what I'll be doing today is that I'll be explaining some of the important things. And also on the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, there was also a recent announcement, though it's not recent. I believe you must have seen it, in the news, where the Minister of Works and Housing, in the person of Engineer David Umai, said that there is going to be an extension of the setback. In fact, I was not surprised basically when this announcement was made, because I think we've got first class information that government are not done with the construction of the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road. Because if you look at the coastal road, you realize basically that they have not constructed what we call the pedestrian walkway, and they are still yet to construct a functional drainage system. And that was one of the reasons why I came online on this YouTube channel, that if you are planning to buy real estate in this region, it is very important that you wait, at least let them finish the construction of the coastal road before you embark on any purchase on the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. I mentioned this several times, and what just happened recently is a confirmation of some of the things I've been saying. So in case you are joining this live session today, I want to say a very big thank you for joining us. You can be rest assured that you are going to learn a whole lot today, and I'm going to be explaining some of the things that you may not know as far as investing in Lagos real estate market is concerned. Now, one of the questions I got when I was preparing for this live session, in fact, because I have a lot of diasporan who have been talking out, who have been reaching out to me. We have been having initial several conversations, people who always come to my YouTube channel because of the valuable information I share, because of how updated I am about the ibeju-lekki, the Lekki, the Aja, and of course the Highland real estate corridors. They have been asking this question, and the question basically is, how safe is my investment in Lagos? And this is why we're going to be having this important conversation, and I'll be explaining some of the things that many of you may not know as far as investing in Lagos is concerned. Now, some of my colleagues basically actually appealed to me. The reason why this episode was delayed till date was due to the fact that some of my colleagues actually reached out to me and they said that we should have something like a co-hosting conversation, because if I come online with what I want to with what I'm discussing, basically they fear that a lot of people may not want to invest in Lagos, or a lot of people may be scared. And I understand vividly why they are concerned, but regardless of their fears or the misconception that people may have, it is still very important that we explain and we say things the way they are. Then we try as much as we can to simplify our explanation so that real estate investors can have a thorough understanding of what is going on. Now, enforcing the setback is going to cause a whole lot of destructions to properties. And before the news of these destructions and these demolitions begin to trend on social media or anywhere you may be seeing them from, it is very important for me to explain some of the things I'm going to be saying. So please, in case you have not joined this YouTube channel, you have not subscribed to this YouTube channel, you have not been following us, my videos are not getting to people that it should get to, because good people like you are not appreciating the effort of first hand and of course objective information that we are bringing to your doorstep. And one of the things you need to do is that you have to subscribe, you have to comment on this video, you have to share, and more importantly, you have to show your loved ones, more importantly, the ones that are investing in Nigeria. Now, what we have been doing basically is that we have been focusing our conversation on Lagos real estate. And what we're going to be doing as time goes on is that we are going to be extending it to other states. But it is very important for us to explain and focus on Lagos for now, because majority of our real estate investors or people who are willing, to invest in Nigeria are doing it massively in Lagos because of the potential that the Lagos state real estate has. So this information is very, very important. So I want to appeal to you, in case you're joining my channel, please do well. Let me go viral. Give me a subscribe button. You can, open the notification bell and let's have this important conversation. So what is going to happen because of these demolitions? Now, one important question that I would like to address basically, or some of the things I'll be saying on this live session, is that some of the properties that will be affected because of this setback have title. So it will be very, very incorrect and very, very subjective for us to come to the conclusion that some of these affected properties don't have title documents. This basically is not correct. Okay, so I'm not saying this because I was told. I'm saying this because of the fact that a whole lot of, in fact, a diasporan reached out to me basically and wanted to buy a property along the Lekki Expressway, and the owner showed, verifiable copies of C of rules, and you will be hand. So the unanswered question is, why on earth is government giving C of O's on these properties when they fully knew that they will be demolishing it in the first place? Or the question many people have asked of me is that how competent are some of those people that are working in the Ministry of Lands, that in a place where you give C of O and in the future you demolish it? So, and these are important conversations that we have had. So we are going to be explaining some of these things and talk extensively on some of the misconception, and we have a thorough understanding of what is happening. Yes, a property may have a COO, I apologize for that. These are my kids. They just come back from school. Now, a property can have a verified COO title. A property can even have a verified certified copies of surveys, governor's consent. Okay, and basically that doesn't mean that the property falls under any form of committed acquisitions. In fact, many of us used to come to this analysis basically that once a property has a C of O, it is safe. Truthfully, yes, under the land laws, when a property has a C of O, it is safe. However, when you are investing in a state that is as delicate as Lagos, I'm very, very mindful of my diction because, and most of my choice of words are very, very deliberate. Now, when we say that is as delicate as Lagos, you must understand basically that if you are investing in areas where some key infrastructures are not present, you should understand basically that if you must invest, you must work basically with some regulatory bodies who can give a thorough um, evaluation of what that area is about. And that is why sometimes I've said it in one of my videos, that it is unpardonable for you to buy real estate without understanding the master plan. Now, when the flooding happened, I personally visited some of the flooding sites, and what I saw basically was unbelievable that some people, investors who are working tirelessly to make ends meet, will cough out millions of naira to buy properties that does not even observe the necessary setback from drainage channels. Some people even find it extremely difficult to even apply the environmental laws that is stipulated in the master plan for that region. So if you find yourself in a situation whereby you are buying property because you have a C of O, which is very, very advisable and correct. However, it is very important that you work with the appropriate authorities who have a practical plan of that area, who can easily tell you. Like one of the things that I also discovered about the Elenrogbe axis of ibeju-lekki basically is that there's a proposed regional road in that area, and the regional road is supposed to connect the Elenrogbe axis to the waterside area of Aja. And I've mentioned this in some of my videos that if you are buying properties along that axis, I allow a certified surveyor and a town planner to identify where this road is going to pass, and allow the certified surveyor and town planner to know where the perimeter setback are. Now, in a situation whereby the setback may be 20 meters, 30 meters, ideally, it is very important for you to understand that in a situation where government says their setback is 20 meters, it is also important that you give additional 5 or 10 meters setback before you start your construction, because you see, those areas, they will get their C of O's in as much as fact that they are able to meet up with the necessary conditions or certifications that is necessary for you to get your title document. So government will not say. Now, in a situation whereby C of O's are given, I've seen instances, okay, whereby a lot of people deliberately encroach on setback and they say, and that is why, it is unpardonable in Lagos for you to buy real estate without the help of some specified professionals. And that is why I really, really pity people who are just buying property because they are persuaded to. So some of these properties that are along the Lagos, in fact, larger chunk of the properties that we have along the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, majority of them have gazettes. These are places that I have personally charted, where I've done the land information. It's just the fact that today, is a live session, so I may not be able to share. Okay, I can share my screen, but I didn't prepare to share it. What I can show you. So we have larger chunk of properties along the Lagos Calabar Coastal Roads that have registered gazettes. In fact, I know an estate that has a C of O, and we have a lot of other estates with verified documents of gazette, C of O, governor's consent, and the likes, and even government allocations. And these estates or these properties fall inside the right of way. So the question basically is, who do we blame? Is it the real estate developer who has encroached on this setback, or is it government who probably gave a COO or a title document without ensuring that these properties falls within the stipulated setback? Because you see, these are important conversations that we must have. Because you see, if you don't have these important conversations, you keep investing in places that you should avoid. So for the fact that a property has a COO, a property has a governor's consent, a property has a verified gazette, does not necessarily make the property immune to setbacks and right of way. We need to have this important conversation. So when you are buying, the moment you have verified your COO, your approved layout plan, your approved title document, the survey, then you also need to have to ensure that you are not buying something that will give you problem. You have to ensure, because you see, okay, I'm going to give a simple scenario that happened recently, and I would say basically why it is very important for you to have experienced real estate professionals handling anything you want to do in Lagos. Lagos unapologetically is very, very strict. And the saddest part of it is that a place that government will demolish, they don't always indicate it from the onset. And that is why a lot of people have asked questions. There are some questions that a lot of people have asked me, that why do government wait for people to buy, to start building, before they know that the property falls inside the right of way, or the property falls inside a stipulated setback and some other things? Why do government officials allow people to build on drainage canals? Why do government officials allow people to sandfill places that are meant for waterways? I've had a lot of questions, and sometimes I have also given it a consideration, by examining a lot of things, and I can categorically tell you that, how do I even explain a scenario like this? Lagos is a vast country, is a vast state, in fact. And one of the things we have, or one of the things that have happened over time, is that when you look at the Ministry of Lands, the Ministry of Water Resources, the Ministry of Environment, you will understand that with the vastness and the population of Lagos, the government officials that we have that are working in different ministries cannot simultaneously at the same time enforce regulation in every areas in Lagos. Now, this is not a justification for illegal buildings, or this is not to sound like I'm backing or I'm protecting or I'm supporting government officials, basically, because something happened along the Ikota River, whereby some people are building on a drainage canal, and a reputable and a renowned real estate professional on Instagram was showing the office of the Lagos State Building Management Control that is in close proximity to where this illegal structure was being built. And they said, why can't, this is government office, they are seeing this demolition, or they are seeing this illegal construction, why can't they stop it at the onset? Now, basically, there are a lot of sides to this, but because of the fact that we are very, very mindful of our time, and we're trying as much as possible to make the video to be as low as possible, what I can say in summary is that Lagos population is more than, in fact, if you know the number of construction that is happening concurrently in Lagos, then you will understand that, in fact, on the island alone, in fact, don't even let me use those in Abraham Adesoya alone. The day I decided to tour some of the building project that was happening on a single day, I was not able to tour everywhere, but the major places I counted on that same day was more than 50 in Abraham Adesoya alone. One location, over 50 construction going on concurrently. Now, the question basically is, how many people do we have in Lafska? How many resources do we have in Lafska? So that is why government will say that before you begin construction or before you do most of the things that you want to do on your property, these are the regulations. So government expects you to do all your necessary regulation, follow the existing protocols, adhere to the building plan approval that you have, and they believe that if you do that, all they need to do is just supervise and make necessary corrections where necessary, and they don't need to do. But in situation whereby we have 50, how many people do we have in Labscar in Lagos? In fact, it was just recently, okay, that the offices of LASCA, the offices of LASAPA, the offices of even the Surveyor General are beginning to have branches on the island. In some cases, many of them are at Alausa in Ikeja. Now, Ikeja, the capital of Lagos, do you know the number of constructions that is happening in Ikeja? Do you know the number of construction that is happening in Yaba, Surulere, Abadan? So it is impossible for government to supervise all this project at once. That is the point I'm trying to make. Now, this is not a justification. I'm not a paid government official, but we need to have, an objective analysis of this ongoing discussion so that we can understand why it is impossible for government to enforce this law across every location. So it was just recently that they are taking the initiative of having branches in places like Ibeju. They have branches at Lekki, and I believe with time we will go to places like Yaba, Surrey, because you see, government uh, officials can't be at everywhere at the same time. Like I said, it is not a justification. Now, the unanswered question is, then why do we have C of O's? Why do government give government allocation, governor's consent on property that you plan to demolish? So this was a question I asked, and I may not be able to explain everything today because of I don't want the decision of this. But you see, I'm going to cite from what I've seen, and what I'll be discussing today are practical experiences of what we see on site. And I'm going to give this case study of a government allocation title that I investigated in the Ellen Rongbe axis. Now, when government gives a title, it doesn't just come with a C of O, it comes with an existing layout. You will recall sometimes last year that some estates were closed down because they did not have an approved layout design that was signed by government. And you may be asking that what is the duty or the responsibility of, or what is the need of that layout? Now, from what we have seen, now here I'm being practical, and the practicality of you having a thorough knowledge of why all these documents are very important will save you millions. Now, the approved layout will specify the geographical boundary of the land. If it's an estate, it will show you the estate. The approved layout that government always vie for will tell you where the estate falls in under the master plan for that region. The approved layout will show the types of drainage that should be constructed, if it's going to be a closed drainage or an open drainage. The approved layout will signify the length of the fences we approve, and the approved layout will stimulate or will clearly stipulate the actual setbacks from that area. So the approved layout comes with your title document. More importantly, if you are buying directly from government. So you see, under the plan, it stipulates where you should have your drainage system, where you should have your fence, where you should have your supermarkets, the boundaries between house A and house B. If it is construction, the approved layout clearly states the number of floors you can go. The approved layout talks about where we should have your sewage, the type of sewage. This document is very, very detailed. Now, when government gives this layout, the only point I would say that I'm not always comfortable is that they don't enforce it for developers. And this is why we have to be very, very careful. Now, when government gives this layout, now, I said I was going to be very, very practical in today's video. Very, very practical. I've seen a situation whereby the setback from the estate to the main road is 30 meters. I've seen instances whereby developer will reduce that 10 meters to the main road to 5 meters. Now, like I said, this particular episode is going to be very, very practical. Now, I will not be mentioning the name of the estate, but by the time we're able to discover this, of course, you know what the investor will do. So, they are deliberate encroachments on an existing master plan for that region. And these are some of the things, Mr. Paul, say ayo. Ah, say ayo. So, in a situation whereby there is a deliberate encroachment, okay, on this, what do you expect the government to do? Because you see, when you chart that property, it will show you the C of O if it has a C of O. It will verify the governor's consent if it has a governor's consent. So what I'm trying to say is that larger percent of some of the problems that we are having, okay, is due to the fact that there is deliberate encroachment by developers, owing to the fact that most real estate investors are not familiar with some of these regulations or some of this plan. So we have a case of deliberate. So because of the fact that COOs are given to several estates, several properties, it is when construction is coming to that area that government will now start enforcing what was on the original plan. So that is why it is possible, okay, for you to have a C of O if you extend beyond where your C of O starts, where it ends, because I've seen several scenarios of people who are going and they are encroaching on this. And these are one of the reasons why these demolitions will eat hard. Because like I said, it is very fast. Yes, I'm talking to my audience. Say hello. Say hello. Come and say hello to my. Come. So, in a situation whereby there is, I apologize for that. In a situation whereby there is deliberate encroachment, what do you expect government to do? So, this is why you need to consult widely if you are investing in Lagos. And let's talk about the one about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. And well, I have actually said, I've made up my mind on some of my videos that I am not going to probably, okay, talk about what is happening about Lagos, because I'm very convinced that I've made several warning videos concerning it. And it's quite sad. The high rise I saw of several floors, judging from the present economic value or the present exchange rate, that building cannot be less than 800 million to a billion. And according to plan, that building will go down. Imagine investing a billion. And it's now, there've been a lot of controversies about the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road, because you see, when I was doing some of the verification on this axis, there were instances where our coordinates were showing some interjections, like this is where the coastal highway should be, this is where it has been moved to. And these are some of the, there were no correlations in some of our geography and our information. And because of the fact that there were so many uncertainties on this axis, me that came out and said that I told investors that for now, you should leave the coastal road until the project is done. These were some of the things I saw that we knew basically that so many surprises await investors. The funny thing is that as a result of these demolitions, and of course, whenever situations like this comes, there are people who turn out to be the greatest winners, and there are people who turn out to be the greatest losers. Now, because of the fact that there've been changes on the coastal road, they were the places that were actually, proposed for the construction of the coastal road, and we know that the alignment was changed. It was moved to another place, and of course, we are not the intention of today's episode is not to give a detailed explanation, because I believe we know what is actually happening. Okay, a lot of people have alluded it to be a political whatever. I'm not here because I'm not partisan. So basically, I'm not here to discuss that. But I can tell you basically that because of some of the uncertainties we saw when we're doing our due diligence, and I told people, see, for now, because of the right of way, because of the original alignment of where the property was supposed to be, where it was later moved to, look at what happened to Wings Home, for instance. Wings Home is one of the biggest developer, and today they are still, dragging over, should it be demolished, should it not be demolished. Winsome claimed that the alignment was initially shifted and it affected their property. In fact, Winsome showed documented properties of their governor's consent, and the properties went down because of some of these circumstances and many more that happened on this issue. Was one of the reasons, and some of the conflicting reports we got when we were checking those areas. That was the reason why I said, see, for now, see, a property that is safe today can become unsafe because the construction has not been completed. In the situations whereby, look at what happened. The initial setback was 150. It was later increased to 300. Now, there might be other twists, turns, because you see, at construction, anything is possible. Anything can happen. You cannot beat your chest and say this property has been successfully completed until government come and say we are done. We are done. You can, a lot of people were saying, they want to increase the property. My brother, my sister, my father, my mother watching the video, let them increase it. It is better for them to increase it and you buy something that you are sure that it is safe than to super guess and buy something that will put you in trouble. And these are some of the things. So there's going to be it's going to be very, very tragic, and it's just quite unfortunate. But what must we do? What are the important lessons that we must learn? Number one, you don't buy Lagos real estate with sentiment. That's number one. So if you want to buy real estate, you don't buy because of the fact that somebody introduced you or somebody said no. You have to consult widely. And in the process of consulting, I've said this before, you are buying a property of 800 million. You're buying a property of 300 million. For crying out loud, with 200, 300,000, you can do a due diligence. Now, we're talking about due diligence. I'm not talking about due diligence of all these charge and bill lawyers. I'm talking about an extensive due diligence of a property search that will confirm the safety, the project, the right of way, and everything that the property is, to confirm it is safe or not. Now, it's quite unfortunate that a lot of people are spending millions on it, and the story has been tragic. So that's just it. So you really want to look into this and have a thorough understanding and be certain that what you are buying is very, very safe. That's number one. Then number two, then you also need to understand that policies changes. What is happening? In fact, what actually necessitated this video was because of the policy changes on the right of way, the extension of the right of way. And trust me, before the end of tomorrow or some other time, the policy can change. So what must you do basically is that in an area where we have constructions and it is very, very uncertain of what may come, the kind of things that may happen because of that construction, it is always advisable you leave that place. And these are some of the things that is happening as a result of this. So they've been an extension of the right of way. Sorry, sorry, sorry. I apologize. So because of the recent policies right now, they've extended the right of way on the Lekki Expressway. They've also, yes, I'm still talking. So because of the construction that there's supposed to be a pedestrian walkway, service lane, construction of drainages, the right of way for the Lagos Calabar Coastal Road has also been extended. So these are things that happened in Lagos, not everywhere in Lagos. And that's why you will notice that most of our colleagues that usually come with property updates, that usually, the reason why I've not posted is just because of the fact that I've not gone on property tour for some reason. Okay. But most of my colleagues are not posting because of many of them are scared. They are not, there's a lot of uncertainty. And there's no reason for you to be scared. If you have your right team um, in place, people who can do their extensive due diligence and give you detailed, explanation of the region, there's actually nothing to be scared about. So that's just it. So you notice that you've not been seeing those property. It's only few that you get to see on YouTube, and it's because of the fact that many of them are scared. But despite the fact, um, and that is why sometimes when I'm making recommendations, one of the things I usually tell real estate is buy into a government scheme. That's just it. Buy into a government scheme. I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again. When you buy into a government scheme, okay, government have actually done, in fact, they own the land. So they know where the right of way will be. They know where the drainages will be. They know where the rail will be. They know where the bridges will be. They know where all these, they know where the canals are. And when they are designing a scheme to sell, they design that scheme taking cognizance of some of these facilities, and what they sell are things that in years to come you won't have problem. So if you are investing in Lagos, buy into a government scheme. We have a lot of government scheme in Abramade Sonya. We have them in Abijojiare. We have several government schemes coming up in the Elenrogbe, other part of ibeju-lekki. Now, if you must buy into an existing estate that does not fall under a government scheme, then you must not compromise due diligence. If it takes you 200,000, 100,000 to ensure that the property is in good hands or is in good shape or does not fall into these problems like this, please, dear real estate investors, spend it. Or basically, you can work with us. Now, one of the reasons is that I've gotten a lot of complaints, a lot of diaspora have contacted me and they said, this is what is happening. See, these things are avoidable. But the thing is that many people don't like to invest in due diligence. And one of the reasons why I actually stopped it basically is that I found myself in situations whereby people are trying to take me for a fool. And these are some of the reasons why I had to stop doing it. It's not as if I'm wicked, but you know how people we like to take ourselves for granted. And some people have actually now made it my own point of duty to so that's just it. But one important thing is that you need to pay close attention to this and many more. So I'll be giving 5 minutes for questions. If you have questions, you can drop it on the chat. If you don't, or if you feel that you want to um, ask me further question, I'm available on WhatsApp. Okay, the number, if you are in diaspora, you know the way Nigeria thing is, +234 must come before the number. So if you are outside Nigeria, it is +234 802, +234 802 132 +234 802 132 Yes. Oh, pick it. Sorry. Take. So these are the numbers to get across to me. That the number is available on WhatsApp. The one I'm going to is available on WhatsApp if you have inquiries. If you want to ask questions concerning the right of way or any other real estate issues you might have. Now, does that mean it is not safer to invest? Yes, it is safe to invest in Lagos, but it is expensive to invest. So Lagos is not a place where we're looking for cheap property. Now, a lot of people, in fact, I've had a lot of agents reach out to me. I have one 600 I want to sell. I have because of the, and the funny thing is that most of these lands are where these projects are. So some people who have actually got a glimpse of what may probably happen to they want to already sell. So That is why you have to. I'm not saying that all cheap properties are not safe, but I've seen scenarios whereby most of these people have gotten first class information of what is coming. So for them not to lose on the both eye, they put it on distress. So if you want to do any distress, please pay extensively for due diligence. Let the right hands help you investigate your property. And so I'm going to be giving room for questions. And by the special grace of God, on Friday, I'm also going to be talking about another important thing in Lagos real estate. So, Lagos real estate is not a place whereby you invest without investigating. Lagos real estate has gone beyond my friend recommended it or this person recommended it, because you see government policies are unapologetic, and in a place whereby they want to enforce their regulations, they do it without any further consideration. So my heart goes to anybody that their property may be. So I'm also going to be doing a video very soon on the affected areas, but I won't show the estate or the company or probably the estate, so that I will not but I'll just show you the area, you see it, the evidence there, and we'll share it. So I just want to take a brief pause. If you have questions that you want to ask, please, you are free to ask your questions before I call it a day, before we have. So let me know if my audio is perfect. Let me know if my audio is perfect. If you can hear me, please just indicate it on the comments. Let me know on the chat session. So I'm just waiting for questions. If we have questions, please, you can drop it under the comment section. Let us interact and learn as much as we can. So I want to quickly appreciate everybody that have joined me on this live session. I don't take this for granted. Thank you very much for everybody. And this video will be available for anybody that may want to rewatch if you probably have missed, the interesting part. And please, if you are joining, please do well to subscribe. Because I've been doing this consistently right now. We started Property Matters. Okay, I'm beginning to have chats. Um, okay. Media home. I actually saw your question in my previous video. I apologize for um responding very late. So please, I'm going to um drop my WhatsApp number, or I'm going to send you a number of our surveyor. They will be in the best position to respond. Now you said, good day, your teaching is accurate. My question is, I got a land in Babadisa, but it falls under Lekki revocation. Now, Babadisa is an area I know very well, but there's been a lot of things. So, but what I would do basically is that, if you don't mind, okay, I can connect you to our surveyor who will give you an extensive information of what you need to do basically. Because now Lekki revocation is actually not a bad title. Let me quickly explain that. Okay, anything that falls under Lekki acquisition, Lekki revocation, it shows basically that it is not totally bad, but in a situations whereby policies have been changing, if it is not C of O, if it is not governor's consent, if it is not gazette, things are bound to happen. So I would connect you to our surveyors. We have professionals who will be in a better position, and we're looking forward to an episode whereby our surveyor will be here. We'll be having this important conversation with them. You can ask your questions. Um, very well, of course, we'll be working towards that so that you can, have an accurate understanding of this. So please, I will just paste our private chat to you. Please, I'll just give you my WhatsApp number. You private chat me. I'll send you Savio Bolade's number, or Savio Lanry, any of our surveyors. We have several surveyors both on the mainland and also on the highland. So they'll be in the best position on what you should do um, if it's a very good investment. So please, because I want them now to be giving you the information on what to do. Please, thank you very much, and I apologize for responding late. So in the case if you still have more questions, in the absence of none, I want to quickly say a very big thank you to everybody that joined this live stream. I don't take your um your presence for granted. I appreciate everything. Thank you very much. So today is Wednesday. Let us do this by the special grace of God on Friday, 4:30 Nigerian time. The reason why we're having it 4:30 Nigerian time is due to the fact that we are presently, as you can see, this lightning was recently got, this sound was recently got. So we're just setting up some of our things, and because of the fact that we need to do a lot, we won't be able to do it at normal 5 p.m. But as from next week, 5 p.m. will be visible for our video. So I want to say a very big thank you to everybody. In case you have questions, my number is +234 802. If you check any of my videos, that's why you have to subscribe. If you're a subscriber here, getting my contact is not an issue. Is my direct WhatsApp link is on all of my videos. You can send me a message and you'll be glad you work with us. Bye for now. God bless you. Bye for now.